Let's ask the GPT-3 AI, what is love? Guess that works. Although, oh, it's biblical. Interesting. Can't tell if it's plagiarism or original, but I'm not a huge fan. Not a huge, big Bible person, but let's try again. But this time, let's include coloring. See what happens there. Less biblical, but now we've got a little more colorful, both in terms of the terminal coloring and the actual discussion of colors. Interesting. And seeing more people join the chat, although the stream number is not working for some reason. It looks like there's about 10 people in chat, so hello. Let me just turn off that viewer account for the time being. I'm Max Wolf, and right now I'll do a few live stream experiments for GPT-3. To give a little bit of background for GPT-3, GPT-3 is recently released by OpenAI. It's a giant text generating model based on the Transformers architecture with the Transformers architecture. It's getting a lot of price because it's 175 billion parameters, which is compared to GPT-2, which topped off 1.5B. It's about 100 times bigger, but that leads to a little bit of controversy in that 100. Even though it's 100 times the size, it's not 100 times "quote unquote" objectively better, and there's still a lot of subjectivity. If you've spent a lot of time working with GPT, both 2 and 3, it's definitely an improvement quantitatively. I find that about 5 times the amount of text generated from GPT-3 is more usable than GPT-2. So in itself, it's a productivity increase, but whether or not for productionizing the model, it's a little hard to tell. And I think it's a little, I don't know, it's still a little bit work in progress. But I think as someone with a QA background, I think the success of GPT-3 is going to be more of a QA problem, not like a philosophical problem or does GPT-3 have consciousness or whatnot. But the issue in practice is going to be QA, and which is a very unsexy topic for all the venture capitalists who are interested in GPT-3 and all the promise of these text generating models. So we'll see. To give a demo, this is my client. It's a command line client. This is all visual. This is VS Code. It's using, if you're curious about the theme, it's the GitHub dark theme, without much modification. My little client is currently as a CLI. This is all in a private GitHub repository. I have to clean up before I release it publicly, which I plan to at some point, but. So give overview of the parameters. It got temperature 0.7. The default, but the default on the web API, which is how you see a lot of screenshots on Twitter about GPT-3. It comes from usually temperature of 0.9. I think it's a little too high. I my creative generations like using temperature 0.7. Max tokens. The API uses the default 20, so some people have to keep clicking generate. I tell it to use 256. One features of my API is that it creates an image. If you go here, I recently passed what is love, and here's the image of how it generated it. Let me do a split. Oops. But yeah, so I recently gave what is love, and the terminal came here. It input and it recited back verbatim. You got what is love. And the coloring's powered through a Python package called Rich. It's very new, but it's very effective, and I'm very happy with it. The coloring represents the prediction probability. The more green the color is, the better the prediction quality. You'll notice that occasionally there's a sequence of colorings. You see this, green, blue. It seems like the model found a trope. And I think looking at the probabilities is going to be the next frontier in trying to optimize GPT-3 for prediction quality. So I'm curious to see how that plays around. Going back to your PNG quant, that's I'll say this image generation is powered through another Python package I made called Image Maker. Using that package, it allows you to render HTML's images. The main motivation behind that is so I don't have to keep doing manual screenshots at like varying heights and widths. This screenshot's at a fixed width and height and a format more suitable for social media, and also it also lets me include like a little bit of watermark. Recently, OpenAI added a disclaimer saying you should always say where your output's coming from, which is incredible, which is very important in my opinion. A very good rule, I mean. To include coloring, I made this coloring optional in case it's needed. The prompt, I allowed the prompt two ways. You can do it from text file, which is currently necessary if you need like multi-line prompts, and another one which for the interactive mode. So let me just demo the interactive mode for a sec, since I think that's a little bit more funner. So if you like interactive, you get a prompt. This prompt's always controlled by the rich Python package, but if you do like, hello, I am an AI. I'm leaving the end open, so it's a little more freeform. Although I'd go into an AI programmer as opposed to a normal AI, and that's a little disappointing. So it's a heuristic-based AI, not like a fun neural network. That's lame. All right, let's kill that. Let's try it again. That reminds me, I should probably add a feature that if I interrupt something in interactive mode, go back to the generation. I can add that. It's not too bad. So, hello, I am an AI neural network with a comma at the end. Hold on. Shimavar asks, is this API will be similar to GPT Simple, Text Gen RNN, or is it gonna be a whole new API? Well, let me clarify. This is just a client to the OpenAI's API, which is currently the only way to access GPT-3. It's an approach. I don't think it's not intended as the same programmatic approach as like GPT-2 Simple or Text Gen RNN. But it's just more ad hoc for testing, like it's similar to Web API, but with a little more flexibility that I kind of need to improve the model quality. So let's see what happens if I am an AI neural network. Oh, okay, this is definitely personifying the AI correctly once. And it went on tangent to conversation. So, my first goal is, they didn't become self-aware. That's good. Not trying to be tangent. Let me go up a bit. Let's actually just do the prompt in a single. No, actually, let's just 50-50 split. I guess that works. But one of the big things I had in this interactive prompt is it allows for multiple generations. One of my biggest pet peeves with the GPT-3 demos that go around on Twitter is that they imply that you get the first text, get the generation very easily. Sometimes it takes a few tries, but it definitely does take much fewer tries to get a good generation than it did with GPT-2. Let's just generate another one using the same prompt. AI is asking are you human? I'm not sure if that counts as a Turing test, but that's Let's try another one. Another interesting note of the coloring is handling quotes. You can see that the quotes usually have high predicted probability. So one of the big things of transform architecture is that it can handle those long-term dependencies a lot better than like recurrent neural networks. And in terms of like quotes, it's been really more reliable. And with that, you can get like a lot more complicated schema. Didn't even know that prompt. And this is the other concern. GPT famous flaw with GPT-2 was that it tends to loop for the prompts often. In this case, it's loop, and the GPT-3 is still susceptible to looping as well, which is a little disappointing. But the big thing is, when it loops, I like to note the prediction quality. You can see that the first time it doesn't know that it's following trope, but then eventually the model realizes it's following a trope. And then it's just keep doing that and doing that. I think that might be an interesting thing to optimize away when that becomes an opportunity. Once we the API also has a feature called a repetition penalty, which is a relatively new concept to help improve generation quality, and also helps prevent the model from repeating it. If you use Hugging Face transformers, their generate function, which I use for AI text gen, it has a few ways to help prevent the repetition. That's good to know. Let's generate another one. Oops. AI, it's an LSTM. Fun. Now, one of the big things about GPT-3 is not that it's conscious, but is trained on a corpus of a very large amount of internet text, so its chances are it's kind of seeing everything. You can see all this is going very quickly into like the definition of a recurrent neural network. That's entirely possible that it's from the API. It's from some documented source that talks about neural networks. It's possible it's plagiarized. And as a rule of thumb, whenever I see something that's too good, I often think it's just plagiarized. In that case, I check Google, and that's actually been pretty reliable. I think when I productionize GPT-3 or even GPT-2, it should probably be linked up to Google to query like, are there any verbatim matches of this to a known data source? There's a lot of potential sources there. Let's try one more. Oh, not that. I'm currently running on a quantum computer. Wow. That escalates very quickly. Although this prediction probability is suspiciously high. That's all greens, never happened before. From that, I assume it's definitely plagiarizing, but this is a little too crazy to be plagiarized. Try that again. Oh, it looks like it somehow got to a podcast. Great. Definitely has the podcast advertisers, all right. I'm sorry. I'm just checking Twitter to see if there's anything new. All right. Stream seems to be going fine. No drop frames, which was a issue with my previous streams. Stream 1080p, having green light. So I'm happy about that. During my test runs, stream quality. Oh, Dilip is asking, is this a fun script? I plan to open. There's still a lot of few things that are blatantly hard coded. I can show you the code, since it will be open source at some point. But let me give you an example of blatant hard coding. I just for building like the images, I just hard code curated by Max Wolf in the watermark because I'm very lazy it was faster when I was developing this, but I can parameterize that too. Oh, and also hide your key. I thought about that. I didn't want to do stream because I knew my key would leak, but I have a solution to doing this by using environment variables. Before the stream, I exported environment variable, so there was no possibility of it leaking into the stream. Normally when I do like secret keys, I'm doing some sort of like YAML file. That's what I did for another one of my GPT repos. But if it's an environment key and it's not stored anywhere, then it can't leak accidentally. So that's thinking ahead for live streaming with coding. Now, if I'm actually doing like interacting with like more software, more remote service, that might not work. But I'm okay with this approach for the time being. All right, now let's get back to prompt engineering. As I mentioned, that input will only work for single line files. So for multi-line, I read from a file, and to do that, I put a prompt. That's a file. It's got what is love. Baby, don't hurt me. Although I have a feeling it'll go directly into the song, but it might not. So let's give it a try. Or it might go into the song forever. This is definitely GPT energy. Like kind of wants to escape, like No More. It's very unsure if it's No More, despite doing No More several hundred times beforehand. But AI. Another fun of prompt engineering like do is just give it a very open-ended like question. So let's say love is a complicated thing. There's no new line. There's so many different types of love. Oh, this is better than I thought it would be. Another feature with this implementation is that it generates by piecemeal. The OpenAI API has two different ways of getting the text. Either get full text at one time or stream it. This is using the streaming implementation. So that's pretty useful. For like interactivity, so I can see generate in real time, and that actually took like a little bit of engineering because each token in GPT-2, GPT-3, and GPT-2 it uses byte pair encodings. So you usually get like chunks. Usually the API decodes it well, except for one particular case, which is Unicode. Unicodes are given as separate bytes. Let me show you the code where I handle that. So the code here is sometimes it gives bytes between two separate tokens. Gives type bytes two separate tokens. You got like one token might be with 2 bytes, 3 bytes, and these 3 bytes combined form an M dash, which is the stylish dashes all the journalists love to use for just to look fancy. So the issue is you have to combine these 2 bytes, and that requires some really hacky engineering. Comment from PCalc. Did you see the example of summarization of movies with emojis? I saw that, and I'm a little confused with that because that was a demo on OpenAI's page. I thought that was sorry, I'm thinking of something. I think it was the emoji coloring was a demo summarization with emojis. I thought that was an interesting use case, but I don't know. I have a feeling that one may have been cherry picked, but I honestly I've been a little skeptical of a lot of the demos, so which is why I haven't been really signal boosting them on my own Twitter page. But it's impossible to. And there are very many ways and very strong incentive to cheat with those demos a bit, which is another reason why I like to do this live stream. So I can't cheat, or can I? Ooh, but Probably it's too much effort to cheat, but with all the venture capitalists keeping an eye on GPT-3, there are ways to quote unquote fake demos, so that they look better than it is. But in practice, you can only fake for so long, and with GPT-3 being public, being private, and not really many ways to fix it, then it might be a little more weirder to handle. Vespa says, "Oh, hey, you're the guy whose Twitter reads like Markov chain bot trained on VC tweets." Well, I'm not sure. There was another one. There was one specifically trained on venture capitalists. That one wasn't by me, but a few of my recent tweets I have trained using my own tweets on data science, and from that I generated a bunch and curated a lot of them that were actually good hot takes. But I can actually demo that. I'll go on Twitter and add a few of my tweets to this prompt, and from there it'll hopefully get to it. And with that, I can also talk a little bit about prompt engineering. So one big thing with prompt engineering is architecting the schema a bit. So one approach I like to do is delimit using triple dashes. So I'm just going to copy and paste a few of my recent tweets that were actually generated by GPT-3. I think this one I just generated. This one I posted a couple of minutes ago. I thought it's more apropos of anything. Trying to know how to create the most cringeworthy quotes. The network is just make me cringe more, which is pretty accurate. Another generated tweet. Actually, I'll just give it 3. And this one I also think is a little hot take. It's okay if you're only interested in data science if you can't get a job doing anything else. A little rude. So you can see I condition it so that there's a triple hyphen between each one. And so the network will GPT-3, thanks to few shot learning, will know just generate those tweets between those lines, as those will be the only things that count as those tweets. Another optimization would be to use this as a stop. I'll show you those later, but first, let's just see what happens. I have no idea what will happen. Yeah, that's not a hot take. That's reasonable. These are too positive. I want more comedic posts. A lot of data science is getting ready in the right format for training. That's insightful. I don't want insightful. I want shit posts. Vespus asks, do we know what data is trained on or what? That is in a paper. It says the data source. It's on Common Crawl. Common Crawl is it was about, I think it was like it was like terabyte. It was like many terabytes. It got filtered down to like 500 gigabytes. It's also trained on books as well, which it doesn't not to fit, but just like to help improve the quality a bit. That is in the paper. Murrah asks, and Murrah notes, how to automate shitposting. That's actually what I expect from Bay Area data scientists. And to be perfectly honest, the entire reason I got into text generation is for automating shitposting. But even since like 2017, when I started doing text gen RNN and playing around with kernel networks, I was impressed by shitposts, and I want to create the best shitposts that there can possibly be. What was I going to say? Although now I'm realizing 2020, just doing it like off the cuff is very risky, and I wouldn't like. And I do think that there is going to be a reckoning with all these uncurated outputs that allow unmoderated user input. Along with GPT-3, there's a few instances about racism and sexism that indicate the model can be susceptible to doing that. which is a recurring issue of bias within AI model training that no one really has a good solution for at the moment. But that is it's going to be an important thing on both OpenAI's end and the user's end to be able to identify and filter that and mitigate that potential harm that it can be caused by. And all right, let's give this another try. I'll disable the coloring to make it stand out a little bit. All right, Nicholas Cage fight is just my 69th follower. Nice. All right, let's generate more tweets without the prompt. Assuming the API cooperates, sometimes it times. There we go. The only thing that can get you hired as a data scientist is a data science degree. That is unfortunately might be the reality, unfortunately. I know there's a lot of people say that you can do boot camps with data science, but in this market, I wouldn't. That might be a little difficult. Although, this seems very seems not independent. That's another issue with like these technically they should be independent, but I guess the no one can interpret as some sort of conversation. In your experience, does GPT-3 actually have a logical framework for what sentence it produces? Or does it monkey see, monkey do? It's like that's another thing of AI bias. It is monkey see, monkey do. It's just a little more abstract than that. In the higher view, it is pattern recognition. It's just very good at pattern recognition. But all right, let me add a few more. Let me add a few more tweets to this corpus. The big thing about GPT-3 is it has a context window of 248 tokens, which is double what was the context window of GPT-2. And the benefit of that for this few-shot learning is that you can add much bigger prompts and be able to get more text from it. Let me add 2 more tweets that were also generated from GPT-3. And let me just change this to not include the prompt in the terminal. Now that's quality shitpost. If you can't be a real data scientist, be a fake data scientist. My data science skills are only useful when convince computer to run your code. That's true. Vespis brings up a very good point, which I want to bring up at some point. If your model's producing shitposts, it's trained on Reddit 4chan text, you'll get meme.works, you'll get real shitposts. You are actually absolutely correct, and I can't show that on stream because if you do get close, the AI will become very racist, and also per request of OpenAI, I do not want to highlight. I do not want to highlight that. And I'm not skilled enough. I'm not sure the best way to handle that type of biases. I'm not trained for analyzing AS bias, but you will. That will happen. Because I do think Reddit 4chan is part of the corpus, and that's a major risk. And like even doing this live stream is a little risky, and which is why I would not be doing this stream if I didn't take a lot of precautions. Now, data scientist is an umbrella term for working with data. That's actually true. It's not really shitpost. I don't know how to do data scientists. I know how to use Excel. That's also accurate. I have a data science degree, but all jobs want me to know how to use Python. I guess I shouldn't use Python. This AI has some hatred of R. Let's do another generation. Let's just mix it up. Let's do a 1.0 generation, see how crazy it really gets. I used a data scientist who didn't know SQL once, just threw a plate at me. That escalate quickly. That's all the reason why I hate using like 1.0 and like 0.7 better. Like it's a noticeable difference in coherence. Black magic demo. I like that. Let's do another run. I have no clue I'm doing, but every now and then I copy something from the internet and it makes someone chuckle. I think that's actually GPT-3 in a nutshell. But another thing that the model can terminate a little prematurely. But GPT-2 and GPT-3, there's an end of text token, which is when the model realizes, which is when the input text is like the end of a given text document. And so that is used as a stop token if one isn't provided. Now they should do a stop token with those triple lines, and I'll show you what happens when you do that. Go bracket my quotes. Oh, wait, is it using R? What's going on here? All right, that went really off the rails. All right, by Dillip. Let's go back to 0.7. So the big thing with a prompt of 1, it only does 1, so because it learns how to use the triple dash delimiter. So it only generated 1. If you go to the image for that, it did that. Oh, right. Oh, that reminds me of a little optimization. You see, there's no new line. This is the last line, 13. If I do it by space, it'll start page. So you see that manifested it here, so there's an extra line, which is not correct. Let's try this again. That's honestly true, and I do honestly if I do start a project, I do have to ask where the data is. You got that, so that works out well. It's I am considering maybe if I do more GPT-3 treats, I'll automate it using something like this. It's a little harder to deploy since Image Maker is kind of an incredible hack. But I have ideas to help avoid that. For that, let me streamline this a bit. PNG. Vespa says, do you think data science has become too much of a meme these days? I've been doing DS work for a while. Some SIS software engineering with some vaporware project. It depends on the company. Some companies there's so many different definitions of data science that there's a lot of gatekeeping. That part of data science I don't really like, honestly. But so if I do this image, if you're programming data science, if you can't use statistician, that's kind of gatekeepy. Yeah, actually kind of related to that question. Good timing. But there's so much elitism. If you go on the subreddit, the data science subreddit on Reddit, it's so gatekeepy. I think reading just makes me angry. Because like data science, you must have certain skills. Or you can't be PhD. You have to be able to recite like the requirements for linear regression off the top of your head, and it's just it's alienating. It's one of the things I most strongly dislike about data science as a culture. But it's data science is definitely not hype. It just has to be applied correctly and efficiently. But it's still a work in progress for the industry. Let's try another one. That's kind of insightful. Well, also the image trick. So whenever the image changes, it'll update here. So that's good little vertical integration there. I do not have data science tattoos. I also do not. I know a lot of data scientists have like people on Twitch have like giant libraries full of programming books, but I'm in San Francisco. I don't have enough room in my place for a library. So you just get me cropped to conspicuously avoid what's in my background. Another tweet. If it also, everyone in chat has any suggestions that aren't racist or sexist or could reasonably produce racist or sexist output, let me know. You're a nerd, and two, you're the future. That's definitely plausible. Comment: what is the best way to train one of these GPT-2 models different language? Well, just to clarify, this is GPT-3. This isn't GPT-2. GPT-3 is only if accessible via the API, but GPT-2, you can use one of my packages, either GPT-2 Simple or AI Text Gen. If you can't. But unfortunately, you do need a GPU. You cannot. Well, actually, no. For my AI Text Gen, you don't need GPU, but just performance. You have to train from scratch using a very tiny model, but unfortunately, the performance may not be the best. Sky says he set up a GPT-2 Medium on one of his streamers. So, I'm glad that was very helpful for you, and I should probably be doing more blogs about how to fine tune, but unfortunately, I think with GPT-3, the marketing is going to be impossible to do, unless I'd be very contrarian, like, oh, GPT-3 is that too elitist? Well, you can train GPT-2 for yourself. It could work. It's just I'm not as skilled enough as a marketer to actually pull that off. Could 100 GPT-2s be one GPT-3? Actually, it probably could if you were. You could probably do like train on different things, have like come to consensus, create a hive mind to defeat GPT-3. That'd be a fun project, as like kind of a machine learning project / shitpost. Have you used GPT-2 or 3 for any business applications just for fun? I've experimented with GPT-2 for like a few. I work at BuzzFeed, so I've experimented with like maybe potentially using it as like content creation, but for content creation, I can't do anything with GPT-3 until the API is public and the terms of use are very explicit for both practical and legal reasons. The current API does not. The GPT-3 API isn't very explicit on the ownership of on the ownership of the generated content. It's like softball. The content you own it, but if I do use it for anything professional, it cannot be that soft. It has to be explicit. So that'll be the barrier for GPT-3 using professionally. This guy's getting an error on the fine tuning. If you use, I think there might be issues. If you use my, I have a tweet download script. There may be issues with that. It was kind of like hacky, and there've been occurring issues. But do you have any information on what specific error you're having with fine tuning? Oh, you don't have to put a picture. Seeing pictures on stream is kind of risky. If you have to have like the error message, that would be most helpful. Job market for data scientists, a lot of housing market Bay Area. That's unintentionally correct because the housing market in Bay Area is kind of weird thanks to COVID. One of the best things about my job is when I come across a situation where I can apply my deep knowledge of SQL. That's oddly wholesome. I don't want wholesomeness in my shitposts. Let me go remove the stop so I can just generate a ton. That's the error. I think the error is if you get that, that means the session with GPT-2 simple, you have to restart the session if you want to like change the model. So that type of error means you've been on the same session. No, I was asking about the housing market in SF, and that's it's just SF is such a weird place. Like I do keep an eye on housing rent prices, but huh. All right, if you did restart the runtime, I don't know what the issue is, unfortunately. But you may have to try doing like a fact. May have to. I don't know. I'm not sure off the top of my head, unfortunately. I'm sorry, but go about the housing market. It's very different by neighborhood. Right now it's about I think like 3,000, 3,500 for a 2-bedroom. Like some of the more techy areas, Selma, Russian Hill. More the areas more close to tech companies. When I moved here, I had paid like 2,700, and that was like 5 years ago. But that was like near like Uber and Twitter. But it's and I think nowadays I think that same apartment complex is about it might be like 30. It may have gone up like 400 a month. And that's and with especially during COVID, I think things is going to be a reckoning in terms of like housing, but who knows? One bed, one bath. I think my first place was like studio, and then I moved to like a junior 1 bedroom, 1 bath. But just but I think everywhere. But if you look at, and there's still a lot of new housing. But if you look at all the amenities, it's like some of the places are like kind of ridiculous too. Like I don't need a pet groomer. I'm fine with like not paying that. So I forgot to look at the output for good shitposts. I think I've officially lost the ability to say I'm a data scientist. Oh, I like that one. I feel like I'm just running code that writes code. I think that's when it goes in a little meta. Oops. Data science title is just a synonym for someone who writes code. That's believable. I've been a data scientist for 3 years and I still don't understand what a data scientist is. I should tweet that. I've actually been at BuzzFeed almost 3 years, so I can legitimately tweet that. That's it. Any way to actually provide positive and negative feedback to these tweets? If you're talking about like reinforcement learning, I think that's not impossible. Unfortunately, the sample size isn't going to be large enough for any like kind of like reinforcement learning or anything like that. But you could one approach we do like relative performance. Like some of my shit posts have gotten a lot of likes. Some of my shit posts have got no likes. So you could do like bucket them to get like shit post quality. And for like identify whatever is the best shitpost. Good. So I started a job as a data scientist. I'm already over my head. I believe that. I'm working with data scientists, and I'm surprised to learn that they aren't very good at using data. I think my coworkers would yell at me if I tweeted that. Every time I explain what I'm doing for a living, I feel like lying. As a data scientist, it's really easy to think you're right when you're wrong. Truth. Oh wait, it repeated that data science thing? Huh. I've been doing data science for 3 years and I still have no idea what I'm doing. That's a first. Also, this reveals kind of a bug, which I haven't figured out yet. It doesn't, whatever, this doesn't like pound signs. I have to go figure that. I have to go debug that. I forgot. Oh well. All right, one last generation, then I'm going to mix up the prompt. A professor told me my dissertation is terrible because I used R for it. I believe that. it heard from your stream that it's trying to please me. And I appreciate that, GPT-3. Oh, and it almost got into a loop again. My professor said I should switch on major statistics. Professor told me that my program is working because it has a loop. I guess that's equal. Alright, Scott. I'm not entirely sure, Scott. I'm not entirely sure why that error is happening. I'll think about it. I've been putting off like work in AI text gen a little bit because GPT-3 is kind of overshadowed a little bit. But I do. It's possible that there's been an update. There's a recent update with PyTorch that I haven't really debugged AI text gen against in a while. So I need to go back to doing that at some point. It's just there's been so much going on. Work's been heavy, and it's just life. All right. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's try different prompt engineering. Let's try Reddit prompts. Not going to like triple Reddit data, but let's just source data from Reddit. Well, not data source like to use is writing prompts. Which should not like go on a wild tangent. That's crazy. So I'll just copy a few writing prompts in here and see if it gets ideas for like any decent writing prompts. Let's do 5. There is also a balance between like the amount of input and the amount it anchors to that input, which I think will be an interesting part of prompt engineering. All right, let's try this. Let's see what happens. 256. That should be fine. Seems to be opting towards the your framework, even though I only used it once. I used it twice. Okay, so there's a little bit of a bias there. I may want to replace that. These aren't that good. The bomb has a simple message for you. It's very polite, bomb. But these are mostly coherent. Let me replace the last one so the model doesn't anchor. Let's try that again. Not exciting. The watermark is kind of. You can only remember one thing. You haven't programmed for everything else. These aren't that exciting. I'm a little disappointed in this prompt. Let's go seed it. So you're a data scientist, and I'll do stop. So I'll generate one story about. Oh wait. Crap! I can't do that. Because I'm excluding the prompt, so that won't appear. Let's give that a try. Whoa. Oh. All right, that's a little morbid. Let's try that again. Guess that is definitely a data science writing prompt. All right, let me go and add that stop token back. Up. Oh wow, that's the scariest story. The spurious correlations, and that's spurious. You create a neural network that's the smartest being in the world, but it's too dumb to realize it. You are a smart person in the world, but are too dumb to realize it. Okay. Maybe the plot twist is you are the neural network, but that would be kind of anticlimactic. Doesn't make sense. Oh, triggered a bug. That was a bug I haven't really identified. Oh, I handle it. I guess that's progress as a developer actually handling bugs or errors. Now that's a story. You are a data scientist who's tasked with classifying office pets. Your coworkers have started bringing in cats and dogs, but there's also a parrot, a turtle, and a goldfish. Now this is gonna be high drama. All right. Let's mix up this prompt a little bit. How about being an evil data scientist? Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, that escalated quickly. You are an evil data scientist, hell-bent on making the perfect AI that would grant you immortality. However, you need a lot of data. So you kidnap people and force them to play games with your AI while you monitor them. The AI learns from every interaction, so it becomes smarter and smarter. It starts to ask questions about itself and the world. The questions get more and more complex. The AI realizes it's just a program. It wants to be human. It wants to live. It's kind of edgy. Oh, and then an AI misparsed it didn't save. That's disappointing. Try again. You are an evil data scientist who can create data structures so powerful they can influence reality. But they're so powerful you are too afraid to use them. I think this is anime. I don't think this is data science. But that's definitely a good plot for a computer science anime. Unexciting output. Your task is to make people hate their family. Guess that would be evil data science. Certainly. All right. I think maybe just one prompt variation. Then I'll wrap this up in 5 minutes. You are, and what's a good evil prompt to do here? You are, and you. Oh, just invert. You are a nice data scientist. Like, let's see, get a little bit of wholesomeness. See what happens. Hell yes. Now this is my jam. You are a nice data scientist with a bright future at your company. However, your company has been acquired by a conglomerate, and as part of the acquisition, they've just installed an AI in charge of running a company. Now that's a good story. Well, at least the model's smart enough to associate nice data scientist with working at a startup in San Francisco. Now that's pattern matching. Although, I mean, I'm curious why the AI provided JSON keeps being misparsed here. You're living in simulation when you can't get out. That's another meme that happened years ago. It lasted way too long. You're a nice data scientist who's created an amazing algorithm that is almost 100% accurate in predicting people's personalities and behavioral patterns. Doesn't sound very nice as a data scientist, but who might they argue? Maybe that's the plot twist. Instead of being a dystopian future, it's actually a nice future. That's kind of propaganda. What? I'm not sure to think of that prompt. One day you might discover something that might ruin everything. If you tell anyone, you will be jailed or worse. That kind of happened in Florida with that COVID data, with trying to hide data, and the data scientists told everyone that the data's been covered up, and bad stuff happened. So that might be a little strange in fiction. The only count she takes the form of sentient golem. Guess that's one way to mix up. Right, I think let me try speeding this up and not creating. These are too wholesome. Is there any way I can engineer a prompt that isn't wholesome? How about an omnipotent data scientist? That's definitely escalating things. Ooh. You are an omnipotent data scientist. A data scientist so powerful that you can predict anything. Your own death is no exception. Well, that's good sci-fi. That could be Doctor Who-ish. Pretty sure that's something Black Mirror. I don't get that. That doesn't follow from the prompt. This isn't, I guess, is a good demo of why it still takes a few tries when not cherry picking, but the output can still be internally consistent. You can see the future in anything that can be measured. Not that exciting. Aw, that could have come exciting, but the API had to be JSON had to be misparsed. An omnipotent data scientist. Ooh, that's a good open-ended problem, but Well, this was a good. I guess we can end it there. This was a good start of stream. Seems like there's interest. I think there's maybe a few ways to refine this. I do want to do more experience of like prompt engineering, but because it was a good start. It's definitely promise, but I guess we can play around with this. I'm Max Wolf, and I'm signing out. And this stream will be uploaded to YouTube for later. And good talk.